Thank you for joining us for this episode of Talking About Rock, sponsored by School of Rock, Rochester, New York. Growing up in Western New York, local bands and live music definitely made its mark here, but no band more so than Talas. I was lucky to catch them back in the day at the teen nightclub Spit and remember being mesmerized by the bass acrobatics of one Billy Sheehan. The band has gone through some lineup changes and are now back with a new album. We're so happy to be able to bring you this interview with Mark Miller and Kire Najdovski next on Talking About Rock. Hello, Talking About Rock fans. Rob Edwards here. We're in Rochester, New York to speak to the powerhouse drummer Mark Miller and his new guitar gunslinger, Kire here, of Talas. How's it going, guys?
Good. Great.
Excellent. So glad to see you guys back, putting on a new album. It's amazing, things that are going on. The album is doing well. It's charting in lots of places, actually, that I was looking up. Number 15 in the current hard rock. Number 23, top 10 new artists. Number 53 independent labels, and in Canada, number 42 in the hard rock albums chart.
Excellent.
Wow. After all this time, you guys putting out albums, and it's charting again. That's got to feel great.
Can you believe it?
That's amazing. So, Mark, let's start with you. So, Billy recruited you to kind of do a new version of Talas in '83 with yourself and Phil Naro, late great Phil Naro, and Mitch Perry. And you guys put out in '83? You put out Live Speed on Ice, which was amazing.
Thanks.
You know, tell us a little bit about putting that together and what went into that, because that was like a rebirth for Talas.
It was,
right?
Definitely was. I think the that version of Talas came about because, and Billy may correct me if I'm wrong, but the three-piece Talas went on the road with Van Halen,
right?
And all thoughts were that there was going to be a record deal and they were on their way. And it didn't happen.
And it didn't happen,
so,
right? And other things happened. And we talked to Billy Sheehan on the show before, and he kind of went through the history with us a little bit and told us how things happened. And there were kind of some rumblings on the Van Halen side and some rumblings on the David Lee Roth side. And eventually, obviously, he went with Dave and did the David Lee Roth band and stuff. But then he circled back again eventually.
Right.
And got
the
Talas
thought
going.
was to start a four-piece band instead of having a three-piece band, do a four-piece band with a dedicated singer. And that's where the version 2 came from, or the version for 1983 came from. So we got together, we played just a couple of weeks. I think that's about it. And then we went into L'Amour's and recorded that live album, which was really cool.
Yes, that's amazing. Live from New York City, this is Talas. I always hear that in my head. I always listen to that album. Hard to find online nowadays.
I think
folks out there.
Billy's working on getting it re-released.
I hope so, because all those collectors are still looking for it. I was looking for it today. It's like a little expensive. There's Japanese versions of it all over the place too, of that album. And there's actually a Talas tribute band in Japan, which I thought was so cool. I was talking to Billy a little bit about that. I'm like, did you see this? He goes, yeah, really, really cool.
It's wild.
Yeah, so you just got to be loving that. So, and then you guys thought that was kind of it after that, right?
With the album?
With the album.
Well, at that point, we went out and toured for the album. A lot of things happened. The drinking age went up.
Right.
Which a lot of bars closed down.
Right, so that changed the whole bar scene and everything. Everywhere, exactly, yep.
So we ended up playing 2,000 seaters, little auditoriums, things like that, and traveling around the country. We fly out to LA and work our way back. So it's kind of a neat little thing. And probably our big claim to fame was the Yngwie Malmsteen tour that we did.
Right, you guys played the Malmsteen tour in, what was it, 85, I think?
Yeah, 85.
Right, for his Rising Force, right?
Yep.
So that had to be amazing, because he's an amazing guitar player.
Oh, man.
I just saw him last year at one of the at the Showplace in Buffalo, and he's still smoking.
He is.
You know?
Yeah. That was really something to see every night. And then to have Billy go up on stage, usually at the end of the night, to play a song with Yngwie's band.
Right.
Just phenomenal.
Very, very, very
Two
cool.
incredible musicians.
Then fast forward to 2017, and you guys decided to reform again and get this guy over here
32 years later.
Yeah.
playing guitar for you, got recruited. And so how did that conversation go? I think everybody was in pretty much agreement that it was Kire was the man, right?
Well, I think between Lisa and Phil, they got a hold of me and said, can we do this? And I said, sure. And they told me about Kire. So they said, I looked up the local scene, saw that he was playing at House of Guitars with his band K&B.
Yeah.
And my daughter and I went out there to check him out.
Yeah.
And that's where I introduced myself. And I think you knew at that point.
Yeah.
That they were hunting you down. They
Yeah.
were sniffing around to see what was happening, right?
That was pretty much. I went there with the intent of saying either yes or no to these guys about
Right.
doing it,
Right,
And
right.
he was definitely a yes.
Right.
Definitely a yes.
Right. Now, was this was supposed to be for a one show only? They were kind of billing it at the time in 2017. Was it going to be a one night only, one shot deal?
Yeah.
You guys were on the Rochester News talking about it. You guys played the bands at the Barnard and did a show there, but it was supposed to be a one shot only
One
deal.
shot. Yeah.
But it turns, wasn't just that one. Well, there were a couple more, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll take a quick break and we'll show some video from the great show that Talas put on for bands at the Barnard for 2017, and we'll be right back here with Mark and Kire from Talas on Talking About Rock.
All right. Baby, I'm your head.
Rock. We have Mark Miller and Kire here from Talas. We're chatting with them. So they originally got back together in 2017 for what was supposed to be a one-only show, and then you guys did another show in 2019.
2019, we had a nice little tour.
Yes.
Oh yeah, nice tour. Because
nice
I
little
caught
tour.
you caught your show at the Riviera Theater. I caught some footage from
Right.
that, which was amazing.
That was a great show.
And then you guys did a whole tour off of that.
No, actually, prior to that, that was the last show.
Oh, that was the last show.
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake.
3
Okay.
shows at the Iridium in New York City, and then we went to Albany. And in the meantime, Billy did something in somewhere around Syracuse with somebody else, and then we got back together again, played Anthology in Rochester.
Yeah.
And then Riviera? Or was there one
Yes,
more
Riviera
show?
was the last one.
Yeah, Riviera was the last one.
And then we did, in August, we did the Cheap Trick.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, you guys played with Cheap Trick too.
Yeah.
So amazing. So Kire, you're a busy guy too. You're originally from Macedonia.
Yes, I am.
You've been playing in the Rochester area, and then these guys found you, and then you're in this. Welcome to this Talas with Phil Naro. It had to be kind of overwhelming. And Billy Sheehan. Oh my God.
Well, of course, when I got the call from Lisa in Sana, first of all, she asked me, "Have you ever heard of the band Talas?" I go, "Yeah, of course. I know that Billy was, part of Talas, and I knew about Phil, and at the time, me and
Right.
Phil were kind of good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he could have come out to see me play, he would have, jammed with me, sitting whatever cover band I played with at the time, So me and Phil, since the day first I met him, we kind of clicked so well, I
Right.
feel like I know him forever,
Right.
He's
There
that
was-
kind of guy.
Yeah, I hear he's just
Yeah.
very personable,
Because
very
when
very
I
nice.
moved in the States, in Rochester, he was with Danny Mancuso, and they drive,
Yeah.
So actually, Danny was the very first musician I met with, and then he got me in touch with the rest of the local music scene in Rochester, And then I met Phil, so we kind of clicked so well. So that's
So you kind of knew Phil a little bit
Yeah,
before
yeah.
before they called you.
Yeah.
You already knew
Yeah,
something was going on here.
Yeah, this is when Lisa called me about the 20. That was I think kind of February in 2017. Prior to that, I've jammed so many times with Phil, so we kind of knew each other pretty well,
Right.
So I was out and about that day when Lisa called me about asking all these questions, like so, and I was like, oh my God, is this real?
Right. You're
So I
thinking
was
this.
like,
Wow.
Because I know how much Talas means to everyone in upstate or Western New York, especially
Right,
Rochester
big,
and Buffalo,
big following in Buffalo
Yeah.
and Rochester and Japan, obviously,
Yeah.
because they have a tribute band there,
Yeah.
right?
I'm like, oh my God, like so. But she said to me, don't say anything to anybody. We're still working on it,
Right.
trying to figure it out. Because I think at the time Billy was on the road with Mr. Big,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
and then I got included into the group messages,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Billy said, yes, let's do it, So, and then I got to meet with Mark, so we got in touch, So then he came out, as he said earlier, that I was playing with my trio at House of Guitars. That's how we actually met for the very
Right.
first time,
Yeah.
So
Right.
I guess he gave the green light to the rest of the
Right.
guys.
I heard there was a quick phone call and everybody gave you the thumbs up right away, pretty much is how it
I was
went.
like, oh my God, it was like, oh, it's kind of like the dream came true, So, and also, huge responsibility.
Right.
There's huge
Right.
responsibility.
Right.
Not only as a guitar player, just the Talas, as I said before, means so much to everyone.
Right. Other guitar
Right.
players that came before in this band,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Dave Constantino, right? Mitch Perry, right? All
Yeah,
these other
yeah.
guys.
And playing with amazing and powerful musicians like Billy and Marcus, and on top of that Phil, And I go, oh my God,
Yes,
I gotta do my homework so good.
Right.
So,
I think nobody could understand why they couldn't get signed back in the day. It was just like they were just like so close. You guys were so close so many times to
so
breaking the
close.
barrier to different things. You know what I mean? But what was your thoughts when you guys got Kire in the band? You were like, okay, we're gonna do some shows, we're gonna do some touring, or was there already
No,
talk
just-
about?
Just one show.
It was just
it.
one. It was just one
That was
show.
it. Just put together one show.
Just put together. It was just another one of those that's going to be a one-shot
That's it.
deal,
That's it.
and then it
Yeah.
turned into the 1985 album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the tour turned into that. Once we did the tour, we thought, geez, we're pretty. It sounds pretty good.
Right.
Maybe we could pull this back together again. and
Right.
Do the 19. We realized we had all these songs left over that
Yeah.
we never played and never finished and never recorded. So
Right.
we thought, let's do this. So
Yeah, and it's doing quite well.
Yeah.
And obviously, you guys, struck at the right time.
What's
you know,
wonderful
charting.
about that is that once we decided to do that as a group, all the people that rallied behind it, between management and the Canadian Friends of Phil, people who did the record cover and did all their recording for us, just the engineers involved, just incredible.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing tribute and legacy to Phil. Definitely what's happening, because he is looking out and loving this. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's amazing. Tell me a little bit about your interactions with Phil and things that happened with you.
We had a riot. We were in a band together.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was watching the interview on the Rochester, and they're like, "Oh, you're the guy with the hair," when they're talking about Phil. He was the one that always looked like the rock star.
Great hair.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You got the great hair. But everybody just said he was such a unique, genuine, awesome guy.
Yeah.
When he talked to somebody, he didn't talk to them like he was a rock
No.
star. He talked to them like,
He was always
Hi.
down to earth,
Yeah.
Right?
and nice and friendly to everybody. You know, it's a person that
Yeah.
you cannot love. You know,
Right.
so he was just an amazing friend. I mean, to me, one of the greatest rock singers. You know,
Yeah.
not only here in the country too.
Yeah,
So,
what he did on the album
Yeah.
is just incredible.
Right.
And the fact that he was able to shoulder all that burden.
right. He was ill when you guys
Yeah,
were
yeah,
recording
he
all
was.
this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you cannot
yeah.
tell that in any way, shape,
He
or
didn't
form.
tell us.
Right. That's
He
what I
didn't-
heard. He
you
did
know,
not
we
tell
knew,
you.
but he didn't
He didn't let
necessarily
on to how bad it
How
was.
bad it was. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
it was really
And his performances are amazing.
astounding, isn't it?
You know.
When I listen to the album, I'm just shocked.
Because I was listening to some of the live footage the other day, and then I go back and listen to the album, and it's just, it both sounds great,
Yeah, such a great voice.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's just,
Just so sad.
It is, and
Yeah.
along with Phil, of course, Sebi just passed, Sebastian Marino from Audio Images, and I bring him up because he's one of those guys right at the beginning of this album. He was the first guy. We
Yeah.
called, if we're going to do an album, how are we going to do this? Where are we going to record? We talked about places in Rochester.
yeah. So where
Toronto,
did you record it?
Nashville, right here,
Right here in Rochester?
in my house.
In your house?
In the house.
Oh, in your house. So
In
this
my
was,
living room. We moved all the furniture out.
wow.
You probably heard the story, but the story that I tell is that Sebi came over to my house and
Mhm.
we were talking about how can we do this, where can we go, and
Right.
he mentioned, yeah, maybe my warehouse in Batavia, and because he's got a big warehouse out there,
Right.
This big room, everything would be big, and we're mainly focusing on recording the drums.
Right.
So then we came right in here, and I hit my snare drum, played my drums a little bit, and he says, let's do it in here, right in this room, record the drums.
Right here.
And we would have the band spread out throughout the house, but we wouldn't all necessarily be in the same room, but
Right.
we would all be playing together.
Right.
And use a remote feed to
Right.
hear each other.
And fill in like another room with like a
Yeah.
vocal
Yeah.
booth or
Yeah.
something, and you were
So then,
maybe in
uh,
another section.
Yeah. So then
Wow, that's really cool.
it was cool,
That's
but
really
then I
cool.
said, no, this room, I don't like the way it sounds, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Was it the acoustics right? Was it?
It's
Did
just
you have
too
to add
small.
anything?
Well, we didn't record in here. Let me finish my story.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get out of myself. I'm sorry.
So I said, let's check out my living room. So I
Okay.
grabbed my snare drum, I took it in the living room, and I just hit it one time, and we both looked at each other and smiled like, this is it. Let's do it here. Because the living room, if you notice when you walked in, has a vaulted ceiling.
Right.
And
yeah.
that just, it's kind of an echo chamber in there, a
Nice.
natural echo chamber. So we decided to do it in there. And he backed up a truck. He had 3 of everything we'd ever need. Times 16 microphones, stands, equipment.
It was
people,
the
full
mobile
production.
recording
It
studio
was.
ready to go.
Opened the
18-wheeler.
door and we put the mobile recording studio in my shop. And
Okay.
then had wires running through the house and connected to my kit over here. And then Billy, and we had separate equipment for Billy and amp for Kire. And Phil actually did his remote vocals. They weren't. They were just scratch vocals for
Mhm.
the albums that we could guide tracks, so
Right,
to speak.
right.
He did those out here in the shop with the engineer. So he was singing. We could hear him,
Right.
but we couldn't see him. So that was, but the 3 of us were all playing in the
Yeah.
same room. So it's kind of neat.
That's really
It's
really
pretty
cool. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Right now with the way it is with we just got out of the pandemic and stuff, and a lot of people use home studios, and that's
Mhm.
kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
With things right now, doing a lot of recording from home and work, but that's really cool. You just found out the sweet spot in your
Yeah,
place
that's what
right
it
here,
was.
and that's and then you just like, let's just do it right here.
Yeah.
That's very, very
It's convenient too, you know, people coming in from flying in and staying overnight and Billy
Right.
stayed here.
cool. Right, makes it more simple.
Very
You don't have to
convenient.
you don't have to
We
coordinate.
had a
so much.
blast. Yeah,
We
for
did.
kind of 3 days, right? You know?
Yeah, 3
Like
days.
2.5 days recording the drums. Also, we put the demos together. You know,
Mhm.
the structure of the songs. You know,
Right.
where the final drum takes, everything was done in this house. You know,
Mhm.
because then in the summer of 2020, and in June, I went and Lisa went down to Nashville. That's
Okay.
where I recorded the guitars for the record. You know, at Billy's house.
Okay.
He has a beautiful big house and great studio. You know, and we had Scott Bush. You know, running the project, engineer. You know, and pretty much in 2.5 days I was done with everything. You know, like I did record like 15 songs. You know.
That's
I
pretty.
doubled up
That's pretty
everything,
quick.
you know.
That's pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Now you were familiar with all this because you've been playing it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean, I did my homework like I always do, you know. So
Yeah. We all
even
did.
yeah, and even when we were doing the guitars, we had some technical difficulties. You know, we could not line up the demo tracks we did over here. Like so for some maybe half of the songs, I had only drums and me myself.
As your guide, kind of
Yeah,
to play
yeah,
along
yeah.
with it and stuff like
And
that.
but it was so much fun. It was a great experience working with Billy and Scott, you know, like so. And plus, you know, I doubled everything up, you know, like so. It was really funny, you know. I tell people, you know, because the session was on a big TV screen, you know, and Billy's phone was connected to the screen, so you see all the big names you can think of, and actually just coming through that talking,
Right,
taking
right.
videos, what's happening.
Right.
It was like, oh my god, like we had a blast, you know. It was,
Yeah,
it's so much fun, you know. I stayed there for 5 days, then we kind of went Nashville, kind of check out the city.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool
Street,
stuff
you
out
know.
there to see. He's been out there for a
It
little
was
while.
really
Yeah.
a great experience. We had a good time, you know. So then
And where'd you guys do the final mix? Did they, you know, where they sent it
That
off
was
to do the
done
final?
in Toronto.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the vocals were done in Toronto too. And when they first started the vocals, I was part of the first session where I had my feed and my computer behind me, behind
Right.
the screen here. And Russ was up in Canada, Phil was up with Russ, and Billy was in Tennessee, and we were all on a Zoom call listening to Phil sing.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I went through a few hours of that, and I just thought, you know, too many cooks spoil the brew.
Right.
So
right.
I just thought, Billy and Phil have a handle on this.
You guys got this.
Yeah, you guys got this.
You guys got this,
They
right.
really, man, between the two of them, getting all the nuances right,
Yeah.
and all the phrasing right, and the words just proper, everything has just turned out perfectly.
Yeah, I really like the version of Intermounting Flame. Crystal clear, sounds amazing.
Mhm.
Obviously, and the new tracks, just excellent. I really, really like it.
Yeah.
The DeLorean car. Who came up with
Awesome,
that?
isn't it?
That was really neat.
I
when
think that was
when I
Hugh
saw
Stein.
that. No,
Hugh Stein came up
seriously.
with the idea. Yeah, I think Billy had the 1985 idea.
Right,
You know,
right.
1985.
Kind of
And then-
pick up where,
Hugh-
where you left off
Yeah.
a little bit was the idea behind it, right?
Yeah, and Hugh took that and, you know, stopped the DeLorean and the movie, Back to the Future.
Back to the
Yeah,
future,
that whole
right,
thing.
right.
And then Billy was kicking around the idea of having an old DeLorean with a tree growing up through it and all that. And
Right, for the
so,
right
yeah.
for talent, right.
So Hugh took it, and what you see is what Hugh created for us. And just did an astounding job. I think we've had more compliments for the cover than we
Oh,
have
yeah.
for the music.
No, well, the cover is definitely what gets people's attention a lot
Yeah.
of times if they're not familiar with
It's a
the
great
band,
cover.
right? It's an amazing cover and it fits that time frame perfectly. I did not know it was Hugh Syme, obviously, so
Yeah.
famous for designing
Yeah.
the logo for Rush,
Rush, yeah,
you know, which is timeless.
it is.
You know
This
what I
cover is
mean?
gonna be timeless too.
Exactly, right. So, yeah.
So many
look-
people ask, like, the first impression was the question, oh my god, who did the cover? Like, this is freaking amazing. It's
Yeah, that was
Four
amazing.
raccoons, us.
That's, yeah. It's,
Really fortunate, and that all is a connection with Phil.
Yeah.
That's a Phil connection. And
oh, Phil knew.
Phil
Phil knew.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't believe it when I heard the news about Phil's passing. He's just such a talented and such a gentle
Unfortunately, he
guy.
didn't get to see the
yeah,
actual
He didn't
final
get to see the
product.
finished product, but
Well,
he knows that it's out there. He
Yeah.
knows
I think-
that you guys are
I think
doing
he
right
saw
by
the
it.
final product and he heard really close to the final product. We just didn't get a chance to see how it got realized in public, you know, which would have been really nice. That was would have
Yeah.
been a blessing.
And it is. It's charting all over the
It
place.
is.
You guys are getting all kinds of streams on Spotify and all the other streaming services. You know, there's a lot of hopes from fans out there like myself that maybe, you know, when Billy has time with it after his other project, you know, he's done with Winery Dogs he's got going on, and he's got Mr. Big going on.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see another one-off show from
Another one-off,
Talas
yeah.
coming to a town near you. You know, it'll be somewhere near Buffalo, we hope, and Rochester, obviously, of course. You know.
Got a few more songs that we didn't release
yeah.
too, you know.
Yeah,
We
Oh,
recorded
that would
it,
be
didn't
great.
I think we can.
That's
release
called
an
an
EP,
that's
5
called
songs.
that's called an extended edition
That's
or a
right.
special edition. You get the extra songs
There
on the
you go.
special edition, and you get the other. You get maybe another shot of the DeLorean or something cool.
Yeah.
But that sounds great, guys. It's just so cool to see this music come alive again. It's a legacy to fill. It's a great tribute to you guys to bring this back to us. We really appreciate this, fans.
No
You know
problem.
what I mean? I grew up listening to all this stuff, you know, and then so like you thought also probably, Mark, it's like, okay, we did that, it was a great thing, it happened, and now there's other stuff going on.
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden, it happened again,
Yeah.
and maybe it's going to happen again.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
You know, it's really a blessing for me to have this happen at this stage in my life. I'm retired now, but at the time, 2017, I was still working, but knowing I was going to retire soon, you know. But who gets a chance to revisit their past?
Right.
Yeah, that's
How many
a
people?
really cool-
Not many people
Not many
in this
people.
in this type of way at
Yeah.
all. You get maybe a
Yeah.
little teeny bit of a taste, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's a
just
blessing too.
Yeah.
I still remember the days and the posters I had hanging up in my room, you know, like so from Billy with David Lee Roth.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I was a
All the stuff, you
big
know,
David Lee
so-
Roth fan. When he joined
All
David
the
Lee Roth, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
of course, it
all
was
the
amazing.
guitar magazines, stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, which I ended up now since the 1985, you know, came out, and me as a new member of the Talas, you know, so I got featured in the Guitar World, vintage guitar magazines, Guitar and Bass in Germany, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like, so
That's incredible.
I'm blessed, I guess. Like, so.
Yeah, I know. I was seeing all that.
Yeah.
You did some
Especially
solo
for me coming
albums,
from the other side of the world and
right?
being part of this band and it's a rock and roll legacy, especially for upstate New York or Western New York, you know, it's a big thing, you know. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you saw it when you started playing those first couple of shows. The following and the love that people have for
Yeah,
this
yeah,
band
yeah.
Oh,
is
yeah.
just timeless,
I was
It is.
shocked.
right?
Yeah.
You thought who's gonna show, right? And then the place is sold out, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have people asking me questions about you all the time, about Mark Miller, about Kire all the time, you know, the stuff that's happening with you. Are we going to see you guys play again? You know, where's Kire playing? What's he doing all the time? So we hope that you guys can bring us a live show again.
Awesome.
It would be great.
we
So,
hope too.
Yeah.
but thank you so much, you guys, for taking time and hanging out with us. And thank you all you folks out there for tuning in to Talking About Rock. Stay tuned to more up and coming interviews. Mark, thank you so much for having us in your home.
you.
Kire, thanks
Thank
for
you
stopping
so much.
by and chatting with us. Alrighty, folks, thank you everyone. Have a good night.
Bye bye.